Now then, people, good morning and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you have all started to get over the weekend now. I'm seeing a lot of positive chat coming out across social media and stuff as Leeds United fans and Leeds United players now have a decent rest between our next game, which of course is Monday against Middlesbrough. And the opinions are starting to change. The fans are starting to get behind the players because that's all we can do now, right? We've got 3 games left to seal automatic promotion. And we're here to talk about a player that previously was here when we last sealed automatic promotion. It's everyone's favourite second son. It's Kalvin Phillips, of course. And automatic promotion will have a big say on whether or not we see him pull on the white shirt of Leeds United once again. Now, of course, I know a lot of fans, for whatever reason, don't fancy this deal. Believe Ampadu, believe Gruyev, believe Kamara, believe everybody and his dog is better than Kalvin Phillips, totally forgetting the kind of prowess and skill set that he brought to Leeds United under Bielsa. And of course, I hear it, it was only because Bielsa, because outside of that, he was rubbish. Listen, he got to a European final with England whilst playing under Gareth Southgate, who I know 90% of people watching this video don't rate it whatsoever. He can only play in one position, apparently, in a single, in the single role 6, if you like, that we've seen, say Gruyev do on a more regular basis. A player that can only play in a single pivot on his own, yet got to a European final playing alongside Declan Rice. Let's not forget, was rated England's best player during that run to the European final. So all this whataboutery and people telling me he's rubbish and washed and can't play football needs to stop. Because people are going to end up having to apologise. I said a few weeks back now, the club and Kalvin, if it makes sense financially, will look to get this deal done. Yeah, if the club can make the finances work, they will get this deal done. Do I think Kalvin wants to return back home to Leeds? I do as well. He's moved to Manchester City, didn't work out. He's then gone to West Ham, which we'll touch on a little bit later on, and it's definitely not worked out there. He wants home, man. And look, clubs would have been interested in him in January, not least Newcastle, even talks of Juve. But after such a disastrous, and that's what it is, a disastrous loan in London, that ain't going to happen. So, you might get other clubs towards the bottom end of the Premier League, maybe your likes of Palace or, Fulham's, etc. Maybe I'm doing them a disservice with Polinia, but Polinia may move on, and you know how the story goes. They may look at it and say, we'll take a chance. But believe me when I say, if the finances work for both Kalvin, for City and for Leeds, this deal will be made. And listen, it's coming from the Daily Mail, and again, I hear it daily fail, but what I must reiterate, and me and Jura spoke about this on a number of occasions, the one publication that's been closest to the club since the 49ers come in is the Daily Mail. This story, okay, look, whatever happens, it's going to be a transfer saga. This is the Alan Smith returning back to Leeds. This is the Jermaine Beckford coming back. The Max Gradle. This will roll on until he moves to another club or does return to Leeds United. But I genuinely feel this has legs. And according to the Daily Mail, it says Leeds United are looking to secure an initial loan move to bring Kalvin Phillips back to the club, provided we secure promotion back to the Premier League. As I said earlier, as we all know, he's currently on loan at West Ham. Phillips, though, at the end of the season will obviously return back to Manchester City, and by all accounts, the treble holders, and by the time the end of the season comes, they might be the double champs. They might have won a treble 2 years on the spin, man. It's madness. The treble holders are looking to sell him, on a permanent deal, believed to be around about 30 million. Now, 30 million is a bit pricey for me when you consider where he's at, the stage of his development, his age, etc. But listen, you can't get away from the fact that he has deep-rooted emotional ties to Leeds United. Let's not forget what he did for us as well when he could have gone to Aston Villa. Granny Val, word in his ear, stay put. He's a home bird, if ever there was one. And look, the Daily Mail are telling us, and I believe it to be true, that the club are looking to re-sign the 28-year-old if we do make it back to the Premier League. Of course, we've got to get there first. There are going to be difficulties, 100%, because City's asking price is going to be a challenge for Leeds United. And of course, he's on close to around about 150 grand a week, and that's a 6-year contract. Kalvin's not going to want to give that up. I believe they'll have moved, kids, except all these things have to be taken into consideration. footballers are human too, and earning a wage is all relative, because as soon as you earn that money, you start to live by them means. You can't then suddenly expect to go, oh, you know that mortgage we're paying, or that house we bought, yeah, that's going to have to come down, so, you know, unless needs must and all that. But Kalvin can dig his heels in and say, no, I want this money. Maybe that means City will subsidise some of the loan, or Leeds United will find the cash. I'm not too sure, but a newly promoted side shelling £30 million on one player, I don't see it happening. So, like I say, a loan looks the most likely option, and that's the story that's been peddled, that Leeds United will look to take him on an initial loan. Now, of course, other options will exist for Phillips. What they will be, I'm not too sure. As I say, it's unlikely now West Ham are going to pursue a permanent deal, not least because he gave the finger to their fans, yeah? Obviously, he's now been dropped from England, and you just look at the trajectory of the players that want to get called up to England, the emergence of Kobe Mainoo, if Leeds United go up, the emergence of Archie Gray, Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, James Ward-Prowse, all these players are miles ahead of him now. It's crazy. On the night that I'm doing this, Cole Palmer's just scored the fastest ever Chelsea hat-trick. He's unreal. Ford and Saka, I know he's not in their positions, but it's just making me marvel at how much talent England have right now. But unfortunately for Kalvin, the move to City scuppered that. Newcastle expressed an interest in him before, as did Juve in January, but it doesn't take a betting man to know, or Mystic Meg type to know that them clubs probably won't entertain that. So it does seem likely that there is a potential reunion on the cards with Kalvin Phillips and Leeds United. Of course, that hinges on our return back to the Premier League and the financial aspects of any deal. Now, City are notoriously tough negotiators. They will want certain stipulations, want to meet, etc. But I think they owe it Kalvin in a sense. I know it's business, but they probably owe it him. And we as a club, I think, will try move heaven and earth to get that deal over the line. Now, admittedly, as I keep seeing on Twitter, in response to Kalvin Prop, I think a lot of it is because they can't come round to the idea that they might actually be wrong and that Kalvin is a good player. But let's just go through some of his key attributes and what he could bring to Leeds United. Well, we know defensively he's very good. Yeah, he's apt at breaking up opposition attacks. I bring you back to that Blackburn game. Wrong decision from Farke to take off Gruev and leave Gray in there. But imagine a Kalvin Phillips style player in that hole there. I'm sorry, if Ampadu's going to remain at centre-back, he's better than Gruev. He is. He's better than Gruev, but people don't want to hear it when we were doing well. I wonder if they want to hear it now, because now, all of a sudden, Kamara's worse than shit. You know how this story goes. We were doing great. He won't get in. He won't get an over Kamara, etc. When realistically, when you sit back in the cold light of day, yes, he would. There's a reason he's playing in the Premier League and these dudes are playing in the Championship, with all due respect to the current crop. But the way that he breaks up play, the way that he shields the defence, his positional awareness, he can read the game effectively. Okay, he might not be the quickest, but he might not have the speed of a player like a Rodri in Manchester City, but this is Leeds United, newly promoted side. Passing the ball, we know he can do that. After Gruev's barnstormer first performance, I remember doing the vid and me and Ollie were talking about it, and I like the passing ability of Gruev to Kalvin. We don't see that as often now, and I wonder if that's an instruction from Farke. But we know Kalvin's got this. His passing range, his accuracy are impressive. He can go short, he can go long, he can switch play at will, which is something that we're missing right now. And look, he can pass the ball effectively from deep positions, which is something that we may need. Maybe Farke might even say, listen, I might go with a 4-1-4-1, for example, instead of the 4-2-3-1, which we currently see. One thing you can't question as well is his work rate and his stamina. We know for a fact, having been at Leeds United, having worked with us previously, having worked under the Bielsa regime, that he can cover a lot of ground during matches, tirelessly pressing, contributing defensively and offensively. And, his endurance during 90 minutes for a team that had been newly promoted cannot go underappreciated of what he could bring to Leeds United if indeed this loan was to happen. Apt at tackling, has great leadership and commitment. Let's not forget this is a quiet leader, but he gets what it means to be Leeds United. We could do with someone like him in the dressing room right now. And he's also versatile. Look, under Thomas Christensen, he played further forward, so he can do that, maybe not to the level that we'd need. He can play in the six and can also drop in at centre-back. We've seen him do that under Bielsa, very much like Ethan Ampadu. Maybe you could even go with an Ampadu and Phillips double pivot, Gruev as an option. There's all these different permutations to say that to not have Kalvin on loan even in this squad, I think is absolute insanity. And look, I believe, and I've maintained, if you watch my show regularly, that if the finances make sense and we get promoted, the powers that be at Leeds United and at Manchester City will try their damnedest to make this deal happen, because Kalvin will want it as well. Overall, it just makes good footballing and business sense to me, and as a passion merchant, as an emotional fan, I want to see Kalvin come home. You know, he's had a torrid couple of years. Bring him home now. And I don't hear all this. He went for the money. He went, no. We're on the cusp of getting relegated, and we needed to sell him in order to comply with FFP. Imagine we hadn't sold Rafinha and Kalvin. We'd be in a much worse financial state than we are now. But listen, his combination of defensive solidity, his passing ability and work rate makes him an integral part of any team. Of course, not of the likes of City, and I think the West Ham was a decent move, and maybe he should have gone there after Leeds United, but he's in here at the minute, and the only thing that will fix Kalvin Phillips is to return home to Leeds United. And I, for one, would sign off on that deal without no shadow of a doubt. Make him a Leeds United player, make him the signing to, listen, it's always the vocal minority that'll dissuade and say, this is a joke, but the silent majority would want this deal to happen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do smash a like on the video. We're getting so close to 30k. Like the video, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell, and I'll see you tonight for Southampton versus Preston. Peace out. Leeds.